for African women in the energy field, you won a royal Chebujan.
At MSGBC 2025, members of the APO Ministerial Council and the Executive Board here present, other ministers, excellencies, heads of Continental Energy Organization, APO, I would like to use this opportunity to highlight the key objectives we have tried to actively pursue in the last 6 years since the reform from APA to APO, and to appeal to our governments and people not to relent in the pursuit of the new energy order for the African continent that APO and like-minded organizations like the African Energy Chamber have been championing. Before speaking about the new energy order that we are championing for our continent, I believe it will be helpful to describe the current order that we want to change. The current order depends on foreign financing to execute African energy projects. 2, near total dependence on oil and gas resources. And the third characteristic of the African energy industry is that it is that our countries began to look for and exploit oil and gas. I should like to appeal to our leaders to continue to support APO as it strives to win African energy industry from undue dependency. At APO, we have taken steps to do this. The first is to deal with the finance challenge. And most of you will be aware of the African Energy Bank. To address the funding challenge, APO in 2022 signed an MOU with Afrexim Bank to establish Energy Bank. State that the African Energy Bank is now a reality, a legal entity established by international treaty following the ratification by Ghana and Nigeria of the establishment agreement and charter of the bank earlier this year. Furthermore, only a couple of weeks ago, on 27th November to be precise, the Nigerian government formally received the keys to the fully furnished headquarters of the African Energy Bank from its contractors. And as Minister Henneke Lokobiri of Nigeria said at the ceremony, Nigeria is ready to hand over the headquarters to the promoters of the bank, namely APO and Afrexim Bank. The only outstanding, I think, establishment of the second challenge is technology. What are we doing about it? What are we doing about it? In the nearly 100 years that Africa has been producing oil and gas, ladies and gentlemen, we have depended on foreign technology to explore, produce, process, and even market our energy. This cannot continue forever. What are we doing to change it? If you go to each African country that's producing oil and gas, you'll see research institutions, trading institutions, each operating in silo. It has failed us. It's a model that has failed us. NJ talked about local content. Yes, local content. But we need to be able to have what we call continent-wide or regional centers of excellence in oil and gas research, development, and innovation, as well as regional centers of oil and gas training. The way we go today, where each country wants to have this for itself and pretend that it's going to have a world-class institution, we are just deceiving ourselves. So APO is now working towards creating regional centers of excellence in oil and gas research, technology, and innovation, and also oil and gas research training institutions. And to do this, we created the Forum of Chief Executive Officers of our national oil companies, the Forum for Directors of Oil and Gas Research and Innovation Centers, and also a Forum of Oil and Gas Training Institutions. a few of the members of these various fora are here. What we are trying to do is to gradually build consensus that it does not make sense for each of our countries to pretend that they can have world-class centers of innovation, research, etc., or training. No, we can come together and our countries also get to that level. You have more than 1, 2, 3. This is the only way to go. For too long, Africans will look inside inwards and think that within our territories, we have all it takes to achieve what we want to achieve. Europe didn't get to where it is today without cooperation. America is not one country. There are 51 countries that came together. We keep failing to see this outside of government, to please help us do this and succeed for the good of our continent, because in cooperation and collaboration lies our success. The third market, I have said that in the last 70 to 80, 100 years that we've been producing oil, we see, Mr. President, producing is exported out of Africa. 45% of the gas we produce, as Engie Ayuk said, we have 600 million Africans who do not have access, who don't know what electricity is about. We have nearly 1 billion Africans who do not have access to modern energy. Yet, we are the ones exporting energy to people who already have energy, but they just want to increase their comfort. This must change. In conclusion, Your Excellency, I appeal to our leaders, particularly those who hold the mistaken belief that Africa's salvation lies in the hands of outsiders, to seriously have a rethink. I've spoken in the past about the imperative of new paradigm shift in the search for solutions to the challenges that the global energy industry pose to the African continent. For far too long, our leaders, especially academics and intellectuals, who shape national opinions and by implication, public policy, have abdicated their duties of critical and original thinking. Instead, they have become megaphones of the intellectuals, academics, and media of the global north, lazily parroting ideas developed by others without critical evaluation. May I remind us that no foreign nation or nations shall develop Africa for us. We owe ourselves and future generations of Africans a duty to look within for the salvation of our continent. African academics, intellectuals, opinion influencers, policymakers, businessmen and women, and politicians owe this continent a duty to develop and institutionalize a new model for our development. The received model has failed us. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I cannot conclude my address without inviting all of you to join me in appreciating His Excellency Bassirou Diomaye Faye for 3 reasons. 1, as SG of APO, I'm most pleased when I go to oil and gas conferences that are organized under the auspices of the state and I see the President attending. Your presence, Mr. President, is testimony to the importance that you and your government attach to this industry. It speaks volumes, more than all the advertisements and the talks that your lieutenants make across the world. Second is what I mentioned about dedicating part of our endowed energy resources to the development of your people, not selling everything to get dollars or euro. I understand, Mr. President, that you have already decided that a part of the fines of gas of Senegal is not going to be for the dollar. It is going to be for the use of the good people of Senegal. This is how Africa is going to develop, and we thank you for that. And finally, hearts, because without energy, believe me, we will continue to be called underdeveloped nations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fayouk. Merci beaucoup, Dr. Omar Fayouk, secrétaire donc général de l'Organisation africaine. Nous poursuivons à présent avec l'allocution de Monsieur Mohamed Hamel, secrétaire général du Forum des pays exportateurs de gaz. Le GECF est l'une des voies majeures de l'industrie gazière mondiale, jouant un rôle essentiel dans l'élaboration des politiques, l'accompagnement des transitions énergétiques et la coopération entre les pays producteurs de gaz.
Your Excellency, President Bassirou Diomaye, it is a profound honor to address this distinguished gathering here in Senegal and in the historic city of Dakar, a city celebrated as a crossroads of African culture and intellect, home to leaders, thinkers, and artists who have shaped the history and identity of our continent. On behalf of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, allow me to express my sincere appreciation for the warm hospitality extended to us and to commend His Excellency President Bassirou Diomaye Diakhar Faye for hosting this important conference at a defining moment for Senegal and for Africa's energy future. Under Your Excellency's leadership, Senegal is entering a new era of energy prosperity, marked by oil production from the Sangomar field and natural gas from the GTA project. And what makes Senegal's pathway remarkable is the clarity of its vision. Natural resources are not an end in themselves, but a catalyst for a broader, inclusive economic transformation. They are a means to raise living standards, support industrial growth, and strengthen the nation's rightful place on the global stage. And I also wish to pay a special tribute to His Excellency Biram Souleye Diop, Minister of Energy, Petroleum and Mines, for his leadership in advancing Senegal's energy sector with determination and foresight, and for strengthening Senegal's presence and constructive voice in major regional and international energy platforms, including the GECF, and we are very proud to have Senegal member of our organization. Let me likewise acknowledge the remarkable cooperation between the Islamic Republic of Mauritania and the Republic of Senegal. The GTA project is more than an industrial achievement. It is a symbol of African cooperation and shared ambition. It proves that when African nations come together, they can turn natural resources into engines of regional opportunity. Mr. President, Excellencies, the global energy system is evolving rapidly. Demographic growth in emerging economies, rising industrialization, digitalization across all economic sectors, and the deployment of low-emission technologies are reshaping energy supply and demand. At the same time, geopolitical shifts are redefining supply routes and trade relationships, bringing energy security back to the forefront of national agendas worldwide. Yet, amid this transformation, one truth remains constant. Energy is the foundation of sustainable development, prosperity, and stability. The GECF projects that global primary energy demand will rise by nearly 20% by 2050. Natural gas demand, which reached an all-time high, as you know, in 2024, is expected to increase by around 32%, reaching approximately 5.7 trillion cubic meters by mid-century. By fueling industries, powering homes, ensuring reliable electricity for schools and hospitals, supporting food security through fertilizer production, and enabling renewable energy systems to grow, natural gas will remain essential to the global energy mix. At nearly 2.5 billion by 2050, 1 billion people more, It is the world's youngest and fastest growing population. This is demonstrated by equally bold expansion in energy supply. Today, as it has been said earlier, more than 600 million Africans lack access to electricity, and nearly 1 billion rely on traditional biomass for cooking, resulting in severe health, environmental, and economic consequences. Combating energy poverty is not only a development objective, it is a moral imperative. Africa's energy consumption must triple by mid-century to realize the continent's economic and human potential. Achieving this requires using all gas playing a leading role. With 9% of global natural proven gas reserves, the continent is indeed richly endowed. And we expect Africa's natural gas demand to grow nearly 3 times faster than the global average, reaching close to 400 billion cubic meters by 2050. But natural gas endowment alone does not guarantee progress. To transform potential into prosperity, Africa requires massive and timely investment, consistent policy and regulatory framework, innovation in finance, and last but not least, the empowerment of its people, local content development, technology transfer, and capacity building. The Algeria's declaration, adopted at the GECF 2024 Summit of Heads of State and Government in Algeria, reaffirmed the sovereign right of every nation to make efforts to eradicate energy poverty, expand energy access, and promote equitable, resilient socio-economic development aligned with the United Nations 2030 Agenda, cooperation with Senegal, Mauritania, and all MSGBC countries. We will continue to support dialogue and market stability, to provide world-class data analysis and long-term forecasts, to strengthen capacity development, and to advocate firmly for the sovereign rights of countries over the management of their natural gas resources. As Nelson Mandela reminded us, quote, "It always seems impossible until it is done," end quote. So together, let us ensure that Africa's just, inclusive, and prosperous energy future moves from aspiration to reality and from promise to achievement. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Mohamed Hamel, secrétaire général du Forum des pays exportateurs. Here we want to honor and recognize two individuals for their...
Secrétaire général de l'Organisation des producteurs de pétrole africains, APO. Le prix de la collaboration énergétique régionale est attribué à harmonisation des politiques régionales, soutenu des initiatives de développement conjoint et défendu les intérêts collectifs des producteurs africains de pétrole et de gaz. GECF. Le prix du développement et de l'innovation dans le marché mondial. Grâce à l'innovation, à la coordination des politiques et une vision stratégique, le GECF joue un rôle clé dans le renforcement du développement gazier international et de la croissance des marchés, tout en soutenant l'agenda énergétique de la région MSJBC.
Bravo, messieurs. Vous les avez mérités. Général de l'Organisation africaine des producteurs de pétrole, ministre de l'Énergie, du pétrole et des mines du Sénégal. Monsieur le ministre, merci de nous rejoindre sur scène, s'il vous plaît. À monsieur Farouk et monsieur Hamel. Jessie.
Mesdames et messieurs, nous arrivons maintenant à un moment particulièrement important de cette cérémonie. C'est un honneur d'accueillir son Excellence.
Merci. Mesdames, Messieurs, merci. Mesdames, Messieurs les ministres et secrétaires d'État, honorables députés, Mesdames, Messieurs, que notre avenir énergétique se joue ensemble. Mesdames, Messieurs, distingués invités, aujourd'hui Dakar n'est pas seulement la capitale du Sénégal. Elle est pour quelques jours l'un des centres névralgiques où s'imaginent, se formulent et se tracent les contours du futur énergétique du continent africain. L'Afrique, longtemps cantonnée au rôle de fournisseur de matières premières, refuse désormais de coopération. Et c'est pour la Guinée-Conakry, un bassin géologique partagé. C'est une communauté de destin. Un ensemble de nations convaincues que les ressources partagées doivent devenir désormais les leviers d'une croissance inclusive, génératrice d'emplois, d'innovation et de prospérité collective. Cet objectif exige, il démontre que l'Afrique peut concevoir, financer et livrer des projets transfrontaliers complexes. Je souhaite m'adresser avec une vision claire, des stratégies éprouvées et des projets concrets. Investir ici, ce n'est pas seulement extraire des ressources, c'est participer à une œuvre plus grande. C'est également promouvoir le contenu local, en offrant un cadre propice à l'essor des entreprises africaines et en assurant doit être une opportunité pour nos peuples. Une source, c'est de bâtir une Afrique forte et maîtresse de son destin. La déploie pleinement dans le thème de cette 4e édition du sommet MSG-BC, à savoir propulsons une Afrique unie. Let's empower a united Africa. Plus qu'une simple formule, c'est là un appel à l'action. Gouvernement, institutions, investisseurs, engageons-nous ensemble pour connecter nos réseaux, aligner nos politiques et bâtir une autonomie énergétique africaine fondée sur la coopération et la confiance. Cet appel à l'engagement collectif prend tout son sens dans un environnement mondial où la transition écologique s'impose désormais comme une exigence incontournable. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous soutenons la transition énergétique. Nous affirmons cependant qu'elle doit être juste, qu'elle doit être équitable. Les hydrocarbures ne sont pas un obstacle, mais un tremplin. Un tremplin pour financer l'accès universel à l'électricité, pour accélérer le développement des énergies renouvelables et ouvrir la voie aux technologies nouvelles. Notre avenir repose sur des alliances stratégiques, favorisant l'association du gaz au solaire, du pétrole à l'hydrogène et même au nucléaire pour une stabilité énergétique garantie. C'est par cette complémentarité que nous pourrons asseoir durablement une souveraineté énergétique africaine au service de la prospérité de nos peuples et de la stabilité de notre continent. Et dans cette dynamique, mesdames et messieurs, des organisations panafricaines telles que l'APO, Organisation des pays producteurs de pétrole, et la Banque africaine de l'énergie ont un rôle stratégique à jouer. Ces organisations sont les instruments de notre intégration, les garantes de notre souveraineté et les catalyseurs de financements africains pour des projets africains. Elles incarnent la vision d'une Afrique qui s'organise, qui investit et qui décide pour elle-même. Mesdames, Messieurs, distingués invités, chers partenaires, le chantier devant nous est immense. Il comporte des défis, mais il est à notre portée. Dans ce contexte, la tenue du sommet doit marquer la matérialisation des jalons décisifs. De ce forum doivent émerger des décisions fortes, des partenariats concrets et une vision consolidée pour une Afrique plus forte, plus unie et pleinement souveraine. Le Sénégal est fier d'accueillir cette ambition continentale. Et je voudrais à cet égard saluer l'engagement du ministère de l'Énergie, du Pétrole et des Mines et féliciter M. le ministre Birame Souleye Diop. Saluer aussi l'engagement de la Chambre africaine de l'énergie, du groupe Pétrole, ainsi que de l'ensemble des partenaires dont le travail a permis la tenue de cet événement majeur du calendrier énergétique africain. Et sur ces mots, je déclare ouverte la 4e édition du sommet MSGBC, Oil and Gas and Power 2025. Fête de cette décennie, une décennie où l'Afrique passe de la promesse, de la parole à la promesse, de la promesse à la puissance, et propulsons une Afrique. Let's empower a united Africa. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Nous vous remercions chaleureusement. Nous vous remercions chaleureusement, Votre Excellence, Monsieur Bassirou Diomaye Diakhar Faye, pour votre intervention et pour la vision claire que vous avez apportée au développement énergétique de notre région.
Je vous invite maintenant à garder vos places respectives, s'il vous plaît, le temps de permettre au président de la République et à sa suite de se retirer. Nous vous retrouvons dans 10 minutes pour la suite des travaux avec le dialogue ministériel. We will discuss MSGBC Regional Cooperation Building a Sustainable Energy Future with our distinguished ministers. Before that, we will have the opening remarks from DEVCOM